As a child, I yearned for the mines. I'm sorry, we're not going to be reviewing the Minecraft movie new trailer on today's podcast because there is a bunch of other stuff to be doing. But sorry, I just wanted to start the show like that. It's a fairly hectic one. We're recording this afterwards, and it's certainly an interesting show. Hello and welcome back to Snack Break, the perfect podcast to pop on while preparing your cup of tea or ideal snack or beverage. And come to think of it, something's changed since we last recorded. I can't quite place it, but something significant seems to have happened. Oh yes, that's it. The 47th President of the United States of America has been announced, with the former President, Donald Trump, making a return only once seen before within American political landscape. To make sense of all that, we're hopefully going to have an episode coming out on the feed soon where we're going to be talking to Smartman about all that and more. For today, though, we're going to be sticking strictly to the non-political sides of things. We'll have pop culture news, Bendigo's podcast perusings, and we'll be chatting the brand new series of I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. For now, though, let's get going because the clocks are ticking. First, though, it's time for pop culture news. We begin with Quack T, who has made a series of massive announcements within the last few weeks. The creator, famed for his creation of the multilingual Minecraft server, the QSMP, has revealed the Universal Real-Time Translation Tool, a translation plugin that promises to allow creators from around the world to interact without barriers. More information regarding that can be found on his Quack T VOD channel. He also shared a poster referencing art from 3 of his most popular Minecraft productions, leading me to wonder whether this tool could mark the way for a return of the QSMP. And I have to say, I sure hope so. The first full trailer released for Star Wars Skeleton Crew, the John Watts directed series, is set to follow a group of ragtag kids attempting to make their way home in the Star Wars galaxy and will release December 3rd. Now, I have to admit, despite being a big Star Wars fan myself, I have not been keeping up to date with as much of the Disney Plus stuff as I may have been a few years ago. I did The Mandalorian, I did the Book of Boba Fett, begrudgingly, but that's a rant for another day. I've done that rant enough. We don't need to talk about that again. And just couldn't really get into Ahsoka, and it's also been downhill from there. I watched Obi-Wan as well. That was pretty good. But Skeleton Crew, it just looks like a lot of fun. It's my sort of thing. Neil the space elephant is my boy. I'm super excited for this. So roll on December 3rd. In the radio space, a lot has happened. Radio 1 released a selection of new changes to their daytime and weekend lineups. Jeremiah Asiyama will be deputizing for Molly King when she goes on maternity leave from the Matt and Molly show in December. Maya Beth and Jodie Bryant will also cover King's future pop shows on rotation. Then Simon Danny of Weekend Breakfast will be moving to weekend afternoons with James Cusack filling in the weekend breakfast role, and a new show beginning, Weekend Early Breakfast from 6 to 7 a.m. This will be hosted by Ori Olikuga and Radio 1 Extra's Swarzy. There are some really interesting decisions in there, all of which actually I'm really excited about. Jeremiah Asiyama is a really good decision for to be sitting in the Matt and Molly hot seat, Matt and Jeremiah, as it will presumably be for a few months, especially seeing as Jamie Lang is now on drive time, so he wouldn't be able to deputise once again. Sam and Danny gain another day and move to Weekend Breakfast is super exciting, as is James Cusack finally getting a show of his own. Weekend Early Breakfast, I have to say, is what I'm most intrigued by. From memory, Radio 1 had an early weekend breakfast show a few years ago now, but is sort of disappeared slightly. So the fact that that's making a return in the capacity of a 1 hour show with an individual presenter for the Saturday and the Sunday is really interesting. I think it would have been quite cool to have the Friday. I know that's sort of on rotation, but I like permanent things, okay? But nonetheless, really, really exciting news. I want to briefly address that there has been other news in the radio space. Radio 2 obviously have made a series of massive announcements over the last few days. However, due to planning and lots of time crunching issues for this show, that will be delayed until next episode. So we'll discuss all then. Marvel, meanwhile, have unveiled a whole batch of new trailers. Last weekend, or a few weekends ago now, we got a better look at the Falcon's New Wings and Captain America The Brave New World trailer, and a Bucky featuring Thunderbolts trailer as well. Then, just a few days later, the What If Season 3 trailer release, with the multiverse-centric show set to close its doors around December 22nd, where they'll be debuting the first episodes of that season December 22nd, with a new one releasing until, I presume, I think that lines up with New Year's Day. I have to say, shamefully, haven't watched much of What If, so it's something I'm going to have to binge clearly over Christmas. Storm popped up in the season 3 trailer, so that looks pretty exciting. I have to say though, from what I have seen of What If, I'm disappointed, as I think some other people are as well, that this isn't just a sort of one-off, one-shot type show where we really are getting, like the comics, What If types episodes, not something that tries to connect itself. I think the idea of a batch of individual episodes every single Christmas actually would work really well. So I think it's a shame to see it closing its doors so early, as we said, or what feels like fairly early. However, of course, we are getting Marvel Zombies, so maybe the focus will be shifted to that. And last but not least, the lineup has been revealed for Taskmaster New Year's Treat. The following will be joined Greg Davies and Alex Horn for a series of semi-festive tasks. David James, Professor Hannah Fry, Melanie Blatt, Martin Lewis, and Sue Johnston. And that's you, up to date with this episode edition of Pop Culture News. We make a return now to a long unheard feature of the Snack Break Archive. Remember this one? Yes, it's Ben Goes Podcast Perusings, the part of the show where we give a friendly shout out to fellow independent podcasts that I'm really enjoying at the moment. All of which are far more successful and popular than this podcast, but nonetheless, we do it anyway. So far, we've discussed Tom Buck's The Enthusiasm podcast and the Imp and Skits podcast. So today, we've added the podcast Inside MC to the ranks. Founded by Bedrock YouTuber Insane Orbits back in 2022, this podcast explores all sides of the Minecraft YouTube and streaming hemisphere. It places a large emphasis on the Java side of the community, although some shows, particularly early addition to the lineup, feature a lot more Bedrock chat. The thing that sticks out most to me about Inside MC is how it's built an amazingly professional podcast through what I presume, where I obviously don't know Insane Orbits personally, only a few connections. By pulling on his Bedrock friends, Orbit started something reliable and secure, using the familiarity of his and others' names to pull bigger guests onto the show. I mean, boy oh boy, the guests. They've had countless MCCers, Lifesteal members, Extreme SMP players, QSMP members, Minecraft event developers. It just keeps going. And if that's not your thing, then maybe Midweek MC will be. Co-hosted by Orbits and AJX, Midweek MC sees them explore some of the latest happenings in the Java space, chatting them over in a more relaxed manner. Recently, this has been adapted to more of a guest show, but with 3 episodes a week, you're totally getting the value of free listenership. I should warn you with one criticism that they are fairly long episodes, so if you want a strict interview rather than a looser conversation, this might not be so much for you. Equally, there's no other podcast that really offer this. So it's blazing its own trail, not only in the Minecraft Java, but podcasting space. That is Inside MC. You can find them on YouTube and on Spotify. Insane Orbits is, I believe, on multiple platforms. He's on YouTube, although I think Inside MC is probably his most regular output. So go check that out once you finish this episode, please. It's a great show. I've listened to a bunch of those episodes. They've been particularly useful while I've been traveling. Over the summer, I had some very long drives, so being able to listen to those in the back of the car was really, really good. And as I mentioned, there's not really anything else that has such a variety of guests and manages to pull such big names within the Minecraft YouTube and Twitch space. It's a really great show. They've also recently teamed up with Block Wars for bi-monthly charity events, which are, editing Bentigo here, that was a complete lie. Inside MC is in fact teaming up, however, with various different Minecraft events. So just last weekend, they teamed up with MC Mania. The VODs for those should also all still be on Twitch, but just don't take my word for anything, I guess. Or Block Wars Origins in particular, which is really, really exciting. Honestly, every time I see Inside MC get to do something new and exciting, I just have a little jump for joy because it's a great show, and to be able to see them do so many exciting and fresh things is really, really cool. So, Inside MC, go check it out. Yeah, copyright reasons, we can't use the main theme to that show, and that show being I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, or as it was formerly known, Help, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, because they just couldn't make it long enough, could they? And it's that time of year, I said it's that time of year because at this time of year, I don't just talk about watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I review my experience of watching I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, and it's been through some ups and downs, people. You may not have listened to my previous podcasting endeavors, but throughout the course of those, I had quite a love-hate Marmite type relationship, but going on all within one person with I'm a Celebrity. Usually with Marmite, you either love it or you hate it, and depending on the day, I would either love or hate I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I have now watched 2 series of the main show. I'd say my peak enjoyment was last year. I also watched the All-Stars edition, which I'm sorry, I really didn't enjoy. I'm sorry. I'm sure a lot of great effort went into it, and I know a lot of people did like it, but I did not like it. I'm sorry. However, I'm a Celeb is back once again this year, and by now I presume you have seen the lineup. Lots of big stars being paid, lots of big dollars, big cash, lots of big Nook bells. Lots of Nook miles going onto their phone. Let's just put it that way. However, for me, this time around, the excitement has come in the form of, well, there's 3 radio DJs on there, although one's Reverend Richard Coles is not as known for his time on Saturday Live, perhaps, although it was very popular, as he is known for other things. So, 2 main radio presenters on there are, of course, Melvin O'Doom and Dean McCulloch from Radio 1. And I have to say, I'm getting into it this year. I really am. Seeing 2 radio presenters that I really like. Sadly, I don't get to catch many of Dean's shows nowadays because he's on early breakfast, and I'm not usually around at a time when I can listen to Ricky, Melvin, and Charlie. But when I do nonetheless really enjoy both their shows. So to see them in the jungle has been a lot of fun so far. I was disappointed, as was many people, by Dean's picking of Colleen Rooney as opposed to Melvin O'Doom. I thought the Radio 1 lines would be strong, but I, alongside a lot of the listeners, was disappointed. However, we have moved past that because the public has subjected Dean to quite a few trials over the last few days. GK Barry, I believe, has done 2 trials now, one of which she shared with Dean, and Dean is on his 4th or 5th at the time of recording, so he has done a lot of trials, and I have to say, although I think it's a good thing. I want to make that clear. In the past, the public has, and I've thought about this, people, and this could just be me making excuses because I'm a Dean McCulloch fan, but in the past, the public has voted people into trials such as, well, the politicians, really. They voted them into trials a lot, and they've done the trials, but they have actually made it to close to the final or even the final of the show. So this, I really do think, could be a blessing in disguise for Dean. I know I've spoken to a lot of people. He seems very popular, and I'm just excited to have 2 Radio 1 presenters on there. I'm a little radio nerd, and yeah, it just makes me happy to have 2 great radio DJs on I'm a Celeb. The challenges this year have seemed... we've sort of come to expect that they are fairly horrible by now, although some of them, there's been a real mix this year. Some I've sort of thought, I could see how, I couldn't do it. I'm not saying I could definitely not do most of the trials on I'm Celebrity, but I could sort of see how some people could do that, and some which are just not doable at all. They just look awful. Also, another contestant who I think has been really good on it so far, and who I was really excited to see announcing it, was Strictly Come Dancing dancer, or former Strictly Come Dancing dancer, Oti Mabuse. Really excited to see Oti on there. She hasn't done any trials so far, although she seems to be she's just chatting to a lot of the campmates and just having really lovely, good chats with them. So that's been good, and that is the conclusion of my first rambly ramble when it comes to I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here so far. Next episode, we will hopefully have more of that chaos, me just rambling on about it. But hey, it's a podcast. I can do that. So far I am surprisingly enjoying I'm Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And that winding, rambling monologue that you thought would never end has finally come to a close, because that is it for this episode of Snack Break. Thank you very, very much for listening. As for what's coming up on the show over the next few weeks, we're hopefully going to be getting all jingle-belled and festive with, we're hopefully going to have a Christmas special and lots of other good festive fun in the build-up to that on the show over the next few weeks. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that on the YouTube and the Spotify feeds. For now, though, this has been a Hung Capper production. I've been Ben Blue. Thank you very, very much for listening. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye!